So let's be clear. I don't necessarily believe this, but I do think it's interesting. But to not consider all possibilities is closed-minded, because we really don't know. So I do consider all possibilities. So this video is something I've been piecing together for a while, because I do like putting together puzzles and trying to look for the origins of ideas and words. So this one might stretch your minds a little bit, because in this I'm trying to correlate and connect the bloodlines of the elite, also vampires, and demons or dragons or Dracos, which I don't necessarily believe is reality, but I really don't know.
George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, William Howard Taft, and President Barack Obama. One young girl traced them all back to one common ancestor.
They're all cousins and all grandsons of John Lackland.
It's the first family tree of its kind, pouring through more than 500,000 names for months. 12-year-old Bridge Ann d'Avignon discovered that all the U.S. presidents, except Martin Van Buren, are related to the former King of England, John Lackland Plantagenet, signer of the Magna Carta in 1215.
Now that we know Vice President Dick Cheney and Senator Barack Obama are distant cousins, the New York Post decided to check into the genealogy of President Bush, and his family tree has people talking. Early Show national correspondent Tracy Smith has the story of George W. Bush's many relations.
My honor to bring to you the 41st president, a great dad, George H.W. Bush.
We all know his father, but what about his cousins? Check out this family tree, done with research by Ancestry.com.
What would you say if I told you he's related to all of those people?
That you're wrong.
Oh, no, I'm not. Let me take you through this, branch by branch.
The 101st Airborne Division, Air Assault.
Vice President Dick Cheney, the man who's only a heartbeat away from the presidency, is actually a blood relation. He's President Bush's 9th cousin once removed. Cheney's cousin Barack Obama is also Bush's 11th cousin and the 9th cousin of Brad Pitt. But we're only just getting started. President Lincoln was President Bush's 7th cousin 5 times removed, and Bush shared more than just a ballot with John Kerry. That's right, they're 9th cousins twice removed. There's also royalty in the Bush bloodline. Princess Diana was Bush's 11th cousin twice removed. And then there's this bombshell.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Sure, she may have been singing to JFK, but what about GWB? He is, after all, her 9th cousin 3 times removed. He's also related to Playboy founder Hugh Hefner, even Pocahontas, and Vlad the Impaler.
Her Highness Prince Charles, who can trace his ancestry back to Romania's dark and distant past.
The genealogy shows that I'm descended from Vlad the Impaler, you see. So I do have a bit of a stake in the country.
As it were.
When Pedogate, Pizzagate to Pedogate to so forth, that can no longer be repressed. The Republican Party has historically been the party that is most connected to Wall Street, the Illuminati, and the Satanists that use pedophilia as well as, this is a very delicate topic, it turns out that drinking children's blood is an anti-aging device. This is just really sick and disgusting, but it's a fact. It's a chemical fact. And if you drink adrenalized children's blood, which is to say you terrorize the child, not just with sodomy, but with torture and with other satanic ritual things. If you adrenalize the child's blood before you kill them and drink their blood, this is a doubly effective anti-aging device. You can also harvest children's bone marrow. So children are being killed for their bone marrow as an anti-aging device for the elite. I don't make this stuff up. This is what I'm being told and reading about. Yes, it is terrible, Sarah. But it is something that's gone on. It's gone on throughout history. This is not new, and it's not unique to the Americans, okay? The Saudis and the Afghans do as much child terrorizing and as much child sodomy as 1/10 of Wall Street, okay? I mean, they're really big on this stuff. So from where I sit, Saudi Arabia is evil at multiple levels, including child sodomy and child murder. In the United States of America, as well as the United Kingdom, law enforcement from the national services, Scotland Yard and the FBI, all the way down to the local police jurisdictions, turn a blind eye on pedophilia. In fact, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, which is ground zero for pedophilia, has the pedophilia symbol in its badge.
Looking into the origin of vampires, you find it all around the world, in all different cultures, all history, some under different names, but essentially vampires. Creatures that feed off the life essence of the living, or blood. And then the myth with vampires that they live forever kind of correlates with this idea that drinking children's blood is a fountain of youth. So, in a way, we are being controlled by vampires. Some of these elite do these rituals and do drink the blood of children. And in another way, we're controlled by the system is a vampire, sucking us dry, literally enslaving us. And if you look into it, the most famous vampire in history is...
The genealogy shows that I'm descended from Vlad the Impaler, you see. So I do have a bit of a stake in the country.
As it were.
So, Vlad the Impaler, or Vlad Dracula, Vlad Tepes or Teeps, I'm not sure how you say it, but he wanted to be Dracula because that meant the son of the dragon, or devil, and his father was Dracul, which meant dragon or devil. And if you look up dragon, the origin, it comes from the Greek word drakon, and it means serpent. If I haven't lost you yet, perhaps we can stretch our minds a little more, and we can take it a few steps further, see where that takes us. The Draco constellation. Now, this is the earliest form of Draco, the word I could find, and it is the dragon constellation, the Draco, meaning huge serpent. And Draco has also been identified in early Christianity as a serpent that tempted Eve in the Garden of Eden. Drakon was the first recorded legislator of Athens in ancient Greece. He put everybody under draconian law, which was a much harsher law and unforgiving law. And then we move into somewhat present times in pop culture. Land of the Lost, the movie and the show. And in Land of the Lost, they went to a different dimension. And there were slee stacks, which were reptilian creatures of this other dimension. Or were they in a separate dimension? I'm not too sure about this one, but... And then back in the 80s, there was a movie I used to like called Enemy Mine. And this dude was on this planet with this alien race called the Drax, or the Drac. And look at this dude. He's of the Drac. Does he look familiar? Back in the 80s also, I used to like to play Mario Brothers. And in Mario Brothers, you're in another dimension, and you are fighting the king lizard or reptile or dinosaur and saving the princess. This kind of reminded me of something. Then they made the movie with John Leguizamo and the dino/reptile type creatures, and of course Yoshi. We can't forget Yoshi. And in Harry Potter. Now, who is the bad kid in Harry Potter? Well, his name is Draco. Draco Malfoy. And what house is Draco in? Well, of course, he's a Slytherin. And who is the most well-known Slytherin? Voldemort. Who is very snake-like. Indeed. And what does he look like? Well, He looks very reptilian. And Chamber of Secrets, they had to fight the basilisk. And in Greek, the word basilica means house of the king. So, I'm watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with my son, and I noticed something that stood out to me that reminded me of Pizzagate and Spirit Cooking and the whole Draco thing. Now, I tried multiple times to upload this in this video, but copyright strike. So, I'm gonna have to use pictures, but I'll leave a link. Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Season 5 on Nickelodeon. And this is episode 1, Scroll of the Demo Dragon. Now what happens, or what I noticed, was this dragon-type, demon-type creature from a different dimension come out and get sent after the turtles, in which case Mikey pulls out a piece of pizza and says, I have some spare pizza for you. It's an interdimensional sign of love. Fucking stoned.